Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Flip Side. Midterm elections are coming up really quite soon, coming up next week I believe. Now, as much as I would have loved to do a story on the midterms, I unfortunately didn't exactly have enough time in my schedule to research it in just a week's time. However, what I did find after all of my looking around was this really cool article that kind of gave posing some questions for both the parties. Now, the author of this article voiced his own opinions and commentary on the questions he asked. However, I just want to showcase the questions to you guys and see if you guys have any answers. If you have any of your own personal opinions, I'd be delighted if you would share them in the comments below. While you're down there, please subscribe. Anyway, let's take a look into some of these really interesting questions. Now the two questions at the very beginning of this article actually drew my attention the most. If you look here, question 1, when and how will Democrats move against Biden? And the second one, will Republicans move against Trump? Honestly, our 2020 election, everyone knows, was incredibly controversial. Accusations flying left and right from every side of Democrats and even conservatives. 2 years in, midterm elections will definitely seek to answer these. But while looking a bit more into these questions, there's a couple of polls going around showing how the midterm elections might go and how 2024's election might go. The source that I found to be cited by the most news websites that I'm looking at is apparently called the Premise Poll. Apparently, they're a company that has a bunch of app users to basically fill out surveys for stuff like this, and they're based in San Francisco, if that matters to you. One thing that I noticed is that they only have 1,500 contributors. It's not exactly the most reliable. We're not surveying the whole country here, but their results concluded that Trump and Biden are receiving nearly equal support, which kind of mirrors the controversies going around today. It makes sense that they're so head to head. Interestingly enough, this premise polls actually ask the contributors for 2024 elections. It seems Republicans are leaning towards Trump renomination, but President Biden's 2024 re-election is a bit tight. It'll take a couple of years to see how these poll responses may change, but it's just a little interesting factoid from just before midterms. Now, another question that actually really caught my attention is question number 7. Will Democrats regret ignoring immigration and crime? I mean, it's kind of true. Historically, if you look at some of the past party leaders of the Democrats and Democrat presidents, you can see that they don't really introduce many policies involving immigration and crime. They seem to create bills and policies that aim for a much larger audience, but never directly mention immigration and crime. Obviously, this is a very big selling point. Looking at the rhetoric of multiple political parties' speeches, they seem to directly targeting immigration and crime, at least on the Republican side, while Democrats continue to kind of address everyone, but never specifically tackling on the issue. This will obviously become a major point as midterm elections come up, and maybe even a deciding factor in the full election in 2024. As it all unfolds, it will be very important to carefully watch the rhetoric of media, speakers, speeches, to make sure that everyone knows exactly what they are voting for. Another thing that can potentially really harm the midterm elections is, well, media and video. A prime example of this is that, well, some people who are voting right now and casting their ballots are experiencing surveillance. They report having people watching them, holding weaponry, and taking photographs of them. These actions seem to be inspired by a movie slash documentary, or film if you'd like to call it, called 2000 Mules. This film attempts to document what was called the 2020 election fraud. However, This conspiracy has actually been debunked multiple times, so has the film, and yet, surprisingly, quite a lot of people, mainly on the Republican side, are believing this film and embracing it. Many Republican parties have gone together to spread it and show it to others. I believe this isn't really a demonstration on what party is good and what's bad. I just believe that it's a really good demonstration on just how much our media affects people. Makes me glad this company, this nonprofit exists today, and it makes me grateful that I'm here and able to show you guys the dangers of really misinformation. In any case, that's all the stories able to come up with today. Midterm elections are coming up, and honestly, that's all the stories are on about right now. Maybe next week, when the actual midterm elections come out, we'll have a very interesting and deep dive into just what may the midterms entail. In any case, see you next time, and I'll catch you on the flip side.